Hey you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundantly Blessed Homestead, where we use the wisdom of our ancestors to make amazing, nourishing, delicious meals for our family and grow some of our own food. Today, this video is going to be about making crunchy pickles. They are beautiful inside the jar. And the method I'm going to be showing you guys is called open kettle canning. Now this is a little disclaimer, not USDA approved. This is the old world way of canning. In fact, if you get on the internet and you research into open kettle canning, you'll still find articles to this day talking about how they used to do this all the time with high acid foods such as applesauce. There are a lot of people out there that still make jams and jellies this way. I'm one of them. This is the way I was taught, and I didn't even know there was such thing as an open kettle canning. It's a very, very fast process, but it preserves your food as long as it's high acid, and it preserves it just like canning, and you get a nice seal on the top and everything. These pickles are going to be delicious. Let's get started. Okay, so the first step is to chop all of your washed cucumbers. These are all slicing type cucumbers. They're actually not pickling cucumbers. But with this recipe, it doesn't matter. And then we have a mixture of spices. We have some dill seeds, some dill weeds, some whole mustard seeds, and some black peppercorns, and some garlic cloves. So we just prep a little tiny jar here so it's ready to dump in, because this has to be kind of a quick process. So into this jar we have 2 teaspoons of dill seeds, 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds, 2 garlic cloves, 8 peppercorns, whole peppercorns, and 1 teaspoon of dill weed. And then over here on the stove we have a brine going, which is 2 quarts of filtered water, 1 quart of raw apple cider vinegar, half of a cup of pink Himalayan salt, 1/4 cup of coconut sugar, and we're just bringing this up to a boil, and then we're going to keep it at a low simmer. On the back burner here we have lids that are at a low simmer, so they're nice and hot. And then we have jars in the oven at 225 degrees getting piping hot, and those are going to stay in the oven at 225 degrees for a good 20 minutes until they are piping hot. You can't touch them with your hands. And then we're going to combine all of these quickly, and I'll show you that process in just a minute. So we're going to move through this really quickly, because with open kettle canning, you're running against the time. You really want the jars to stay hot and the rings and the lids. So we're going to get started here. Okay, so we just start filling the jar with cucumbers. Try not to touch the jar because it is hot. Just going to use a spoon to kind of push the cucumbers down into the jar. You could also do spears if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to do hamburger slices. When the jar gets about half full, Nevaeh's going to go ahead and empty the spice jar that's pre-filled there into the top. And we're going to keep on filling. We're going to lightly pack these. You don't want them tight, but you want to fit as many as you possibly can without burning your fingers on the hot jar. Okay, the next step is to have a canning funnel. This is my piping hot brine over here, which I explained the ingredients to it already. We're going to add the piping hot brine to the piping hot jar. I go to about the 1-inch headspace mark, taking my plastic knife and debubbling. Although in this case it really doesn't matter, just we want to make sure we have enough brine in here. So you want enough brine to cover those pickles or cucumbers. And you can go to about a 1/2 inch of headspace if you have to. Checking my rim there with my finger to ensure there's no debris on the rim. Adding the lid, tightening the ring down all the way, and we're on to the next step. To invert the jar upside down here for 5 minutes, and then once the 5-minute timer has expired, we just set them right side back up and the jars are sealed. Once they're completely cooled, you can remove your rings and they're ready for storage. My advice is you let this sit on the shelf at least a minimum of 2 weeks, but I'd recommend at least a month before consuming, because you want the brine to really soak into those pickles so you have the full flavor of a dill pickle instead of just a cucumber that's been marinating in something overnight. So that is how we make our open kettle pickles. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.